A YouTube channel called Finsk-Cam is simply a collection of videos from a person's drive to and from work. One upload has thousands more views than any other because of how creepy it is, and also because it's difficult to come up with a satisfying way to explain it. So Finsk is driving to work when someone forces him to the other lane. As he's getting closer, he discovers it's an older woman standing in his lane. She remains suspended in this position and does not so much as turn her head to acknowledge him. In fact, we never see her face at all. Does she even have one? Light snow covers the cars, but does not cover her, so she could have not been standing here for long. Still, it is very cold out, and yet not once do I see any indication of her breath. Is she alive? A ghost? Finsk slows down, and I want to say he helps her, but the video ends before we get a chance to really see. This was made in 2017, and no update has been provided, so I guess what happened next will have to stay a mystery. These paranormal investigating YouTubers traveled to a movie theater in Sagan, Texas, to take their chances with the ghost of a girl who repeatedly scratches the staff at random. It isn't long before they hear not footsteps, but rather a single footstep, which is somehow even more unnatural and unnerving. Listen and watch. No one else is around.
I'm come here to communicate with whoever lives here.
They keep hearing and seeing things that aren't quite showing up on camera. Short flashes of movement out of the peripheral vision that go away when they try to look. But this part, taken in the back right of the theater at 7 minutes in a section where they keep hearing most of the noise, seems to show someone in the seats looking back at them.
Man, there's some serious creaking going on these steps right here.
The face has no detail, even though these are good quality cameras with night vision, and the head looks nearly see-through, almost like the after image of someone who can only exist through sheer willpower and nothing more. This video is supposedly one of the 7 classified videotapes that were taken from government archives and leaked. Of the 7 tapes, only a few snippets have ever made it to the public, including this interesting portion. A strange, gray alien appears to be manipulating some sort of task while in captivity. According to the description, this video could have been shot as early as 1942 and as late as 1969. The footage itself looks fairly convincing, though it could simply be CGI. However, the projector sound effect on the video seems fake, so my guess is this video isn't real after all. If this video is real, then exactly what the alien is intently focusing on, how it came to be captured, and how we are able to communicate with it, if at all, remains a mystery. World-famous athlete Lionel Messi was the world's highest paid soccer player for 6 years straight. And before I get flooded with comments, let's all acknowledge the sport is called football everywhere else in the world besides North America. But Messi also has another distinction, being one of the only soccer players to have a paranormal moment caught on live television. He is doing an interview from home when this mysterious figure is seen in the window. This could be someone from the media, but there's only one problem. This seems to be an interview done over the computer, meaning no need for a television crew here. Messi doesn't seem fazed by the figure, so it might have been a family member or a friend in the room with him. With that said, the way they stand still as a statue the whole time has people wondering if this was a real ghost sighting video or not. If this were paranormal, I think he would have turned around, but unless he addresses the video, I guess we won't know for sure.
It's creeping me out. I lived here for going on 7 years. I walked 100 miles through these woods. Never seen that shape before right there.
That's the reaction of James Jones after finding a strange human silhouette standing motionless in the Tennessee forest. What's especially perplexing is how James should be close enough to see the person's facial features, yet their entire visage is shrouded in darkness.
It's not a broken tree or whatever. looks like it's connected right there, but it's not. I've been over there 1,000 times.
Even if this was a tree, there's not much of a reason for it to be completely dark instead of the same color as every other tree around. It almost looks like the figure is wearing a colonial style hat. Maybe it's the spirit of a soldier from the Revolutionary War, or maybe they were a soldier in the Civil War. Let me know what you think it was, and if you think James was in any trouble on that day. A psychic prophet in Las Vegas claims that he can summon extraterrestrials at will. He says that he has been doing this for over 25 years. The local news picks a place and time for him to summon a UFO. They are extremely skeptical and mostly expect this to be a joke, but imagine their surprise when the self-proclaimed prophet says a quick prayer and causes this to happen.
I pray, oh Yahweh, that you send a sighting so that they know that I am not mentally ill. I am not a false prophet like those who seek to me say I am.
I see something straight up.
Oh, brother, look at it. There it is.
You can barely see it.
Whoa, man! Oh, hallelujah!
Then, a few seconds later, it disappeared.
A white orb flies up into the air and quickly disappears. Then it comes back and changes color.
I got it. Photojournalist Jonathan Hawkins locks in on it. Let's take a closer look here. It's an orange sphere that appeared out of nowhere.
The orange sphere hovers around them and then disappears from sight. It doesn't look like any aircraft they have ever seen before. The news team contacted a nearby Air Force base, and they could not confirm that it was one of their planes. I'm not sure what to make of this one, but I will admit that the timing is pretty incredible. I want to know if you think this was a real UFO summoning, or if it was just a coincidence. Also, if you don't think that this is a UFO, then I'd like to hear your best guess as to what it could possibly be. Schwinn Protocol wants to remodel his dreary basement, which only has a dirt floor. After digging many layers down, he finds this rusty old entranceway that presumably extends even deeper. He doesn't really have a good feeling about this at all, but he needs to know everything about the basement before he can get the job done, so he has to see for himself what's on the other side. He lifts the heavy cement plug, and white orbs soon follow, though I guess they could also be dust particles. Either way, he is puzzled to find a wide cavern filled with darkness. As his light traces along the rough edges of the floor, he slowly begins to piece together some unnerving observations out loud.
That's probably about a 13 or 15 foot drop. So definitely a bigger person wouldn't be able to fit down there. Wouldn't even be able to fit a ladder down there though,
So basically, this is a deep hole with an entrance that's too small for an adult, but just the right size to squeeze through a child. I'm not sure what this was really used for, but I do agree that it's weird to have a random hole in your basement that's easy to fall into and tough, if not impossible, to get out. To be fair, the YouTuber later wrote in the description that he thinks it was part of a drainage system that's no longer in use. Maybe he's right, or maybe he's just trying to explain something that he wishes he never saw. Someone could have spent their entire childhood down there for all we know. A ghost hunting channel in Portugal called Supernatural Persecution is attempting to solve an unexplained mystery that's been haunting locals for years. According to legend, this haunted place in the dark, creepy woods is where a bride-to-be once threw herself onto train tracks after discovering her fiancé was unfaithful. Ghost sightings have occurred ever since, and few dare to explore here because so much has already gone wrong. While walking down the long forgotten path, flanked by scary woods on both sides, they think they hear something.
Leonardo, tá vendo alguma coisa?
Oi?
Leonardo, tá vendo alguma coisa?
Oi?
Scary voices and other weird noises from within the haunted woods. The ghost bride is near. As the ghost hunters squint into the darkness,
Leonardo do céu! Olha o vulto branco lá, ó! Passando atrás de você, cara!
A mysterious figure, an apparition, crosses their path and leaves them absolutely terrified. The possible sighting of a ghost wearing a white bridal gown Well, creepy. Could also be someone in black clothes holding a white sheet over their head to create the illusion of a long flowing headdress. It's too far away to tell for sure. Likewise, this alleged ghost voice sounds more like one of their friends, rather than something supernatural wailing in anguish. But even though I'm not fully convinced, this paranormal evidence has thousands convinced that it's real, so maybe I'm wrong. A YouTube channel called Free For All plans to explore a series of tunnels underneath Minneapolis that are rumored to eventually lead to a place called Satan's Cave, which no one has ever seen before. The group of friends grow progressively dirtier as they squeeze through narrow opening after narrow opening, sometimes climbing through sections of the tunnel that have almost completely collapsed just to see what's next. Soon the brick walls give way to smooth gray stone that more closely resembles the likes of a cave. When they see these highly detailed faces carved into the wall, they know they are on the right track. It's definitely a creepy sight for sure, but walls are still covered with tons of graffiti, which means that 1 million people have been here before. They aren't crossing new territory, at least not yet. After a while, they happen upon a side tunnel that seems to be unmarked and unexplored. They have to hunch over and eventually crawl on their hands and knees in order to continue. It's a long time before they stumble upon what has to be the narrow mouth of Satan's Cave. The cave eventually opens into a cramped chamber of sorts. The situation becomes all too real when they realize the hole in the wall is too narrow to crawl through. There is a hole to their left that leads straight down into pitch black darkness. Everyone gets an uneasy feeling about this huge floor opening, and they wisely decide to turn back around. Judging from the cave's nickname, I definitely wouldn't want to see what's down that final hole either. A paranormal explorer from Turkey named Ansari is documenting a haunted tunnel that's too scary for him to get very far.
جوا يا بسم الله شو هاد والله العظيم اطلعوا يا بسم الله.
Behind him, an eerie red ring radiates with an evil force. He knows he has to get out quick or else he will succumb to its terrifying effects, but as he creeps near the entrance, the haunted tunnel takes a final swipe at him.
في صوت حركة بسم الله شو هاد خليني أقرب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يلي موجود هون. بسم الله. سمعتوا أقسم بالله العظيم في صوت حركة. يا والله العظيم في شيء عم يركض جوا. بسم الله.
Ansari's had enough and decides to block off the tunnel to contain whatever evil is inside, but it seems as though whatever scary thing he's caught on tape has other plans.
إنه هالفكرة هي منيحة. من هون لبكرة أنا ببين معي إذا رح يا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أقسم بالله العظيم شفت شلون شالت.
It seems like the rock could have simply fallen over here, but it's very heavy and shouldn't tip over so easily. It's hard to say if it was pushed over by a ghost or simply off balance to begin with, so let me know if you think this video is paranormal or not. As for why only a small portion of the tunnel would be glowing red like that, I have no idea. Chip Chen is the name given to a South Korean woman who was discovered by the website 4chan. They found her live stream one fateful day and proceeded to watch every moment of her life for years. What they found was both curious and startling. For one thing, Chip Chen would often pass out in strange positions for over 12 hours, and then do things like barricade her door closed with whatever she could find. She rarely left the apartment, and appeared to be in a lot of distress at all times. 4chan eventually came across her blog, and found out that she thought she was being stalked by the local police. She even says that they have implanted a chip into her that allows them to control when she sleeps and how she feels. Here's a video of Chip Chan silently screaming as they supposedly activate her implant and mess with her mind. There's no evidence that any of what she is saying is real, and as of now, people either completely believe her story or else think that she has a serious mental disorder. It hasn't been on in a long time, but maybe someone can translate the text on her page and make sense of what she is saying. All in all, nobody has been able to track her down to talk with her, and her identity is unknown. All we know is that somewhere in South Korea, a woman was recording herself all of the time as a way of exposing her tormentors to the world. A YouTuber in Italy named Alessio Rubes is experimenting with a homemade Ouija board that apparently works far better than he thought.
C'è qualcuno che vuole parlare con me?
His ghost hunting app goes off at the exact moment his dog goes on full alert, and then things get scarier from there.
Oh. No, raga. Lo sarà a vedere, raga?
Alessio leaves the room to investigate, and his dog literally screams at something in the hallway. He turns around to find the light 2 rooms over is mysteriously moving on its own. He spends a moment calming down the poor pup who is now cowering under a chair and looks very scared indeed, further lending legitimacy to this already creepy enough video. When he goes to investigate the light, he finds it still steadily moving. I don't see how you can fake that kind of reaction from a dog, so I think this ghost sighting video is real.
You see this key? This key is gonna save my life.
A YouTube channel called Snake Hunters TV takes a risky challenge by locking himself in with a Burmese python and hides the key. He hides the key and shuts the locked tank door behind himself. Now it's up to his daughter Carista to save his life. The snake senses a new object is near and starts flicking its tongue, trying to sense if it's food.
Lock me in! Lock me in! Am I locked in?
Yep.
I can't get out.
He knows not to make any sudden movements or else the snake will react. He has to stay calm. When the snake gets in his lap, he knows he's in trouble and has to slowly stretch his legs out without panicking. By the end of the challenge, he's huddled in the corner with the snake pushed as far away as the claustrophobic tank allows. I'm thinking they fed the snake before making the video to make it less likely to be hostile because it hardly seems interested in him by the time he leaves. But hungry or not, crawling into the den of a 12-foot python is one challenge I could never take. The International Space Station caught a glimpse of what appears to be a large spacecraft, but instead of alerting the media, NASA dimmed the feed. Street Cap 1 uploaded the video to YouTube in March 2017, writing in the caption, "I thought I was seeing things. I had to be quick. The dimming at the end was sudden, and my guess is they, NASA, turned down the brightness a little." The clip in question shows a narrow UFO staged along the planet's horizon. Below it hovers 2 bright objects that appear to be reflective. YouTuber Rob Morgan notes of the objects below. If you pause the video and move the slide bar, I don't think they are lights but thrusters. They go from running horizontal to what looks like a hover mode. And what is NASA trying to hide? The dimming of the feed makes many question whether NASA is tampering with the International Space Station's projected images. Is it a UFO, some other space anomaly, or a hoax? Whatever it is, it's certainly mysterious. 2 college students in Spring City, Pennsylvania decide to explore an abandoned asylum called the Pennhurst State School and Hospital. They mostly find old rooms with floors covered in paint chips and other fallen debris, but a couple of strange things happen. First, tell me if you hear anything weird during this part. Some people say that they can hear a voice say the word mummy or something similar. I personally think that it's the sound of an old camera lens zooming in, but I'll let you decide. Anyway, they keep exploring and eventually go up a tall flight of winding stairs. Suddenly, the video cuts out, and just 30 seconds later, somebody is holding the camera in the middle of the woods. Shortly before the video ends, many people have pointed out that this is not enough time to get back down the steps. So a big question about this video is what happened during the time lapse. Some people say that this was an art project, but if so, nobody has stepped forward as the creator, which is usually what happens once a video has gone viral. None of it adds up. An angry poltergeist haunting this room is throwing things off the shelf.
Hey! Allah Akbar, Allah. Ini rumah aku, kalau engkau nak buat macam ni, kau ingat aku takut? Kau ingat aku takut? Allah Akbar, Allah.
But unfortunately for Arash Afnan, the paranormal activity does not end there.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
Looking straight at him is a mysterious figure standing in the kitchen, a shadow figure that is clearly in the shape of a person. But when he chases it into the kitchen, it's gone and the drawer where it was just standing opens all by itself. Now that's just terrifying. This YouTuber is exploring the Tulachar Abbey in Wales when he notices a strange animal face in the stone. It's hard to see at first, but you can make out the face of a pig here. This prompts him and his group to examine the area more closely. Eventually discovering a series of even more startling finds, they soon realize that this is not a natural rock formation, but rather some kind of ritualistic stone altar from ancient times past. The smooth surface was probably used for some sort of human and animal offerings.
Proper seats on it, little church thing there.
Finally, he zooms in on the clawed feet of the altar, and the video ends shortly thereafter. It's hard to say whether this is some kind of stage prop, or if they really did stumble across a hidden evil deep within an old cave. The friends seem more curious than scared, which is a strange reaction, but then again, if I was there, I probably wouldn't know what to think either. Overall, I'd say this video has a good chance of being real, but I would like to get some other opinions. In 2004, a student at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst named Mara Murray went missing. She had been acting very strangely, like crying at work and taking someone's credit card before she disappeared. She was eventually seen in New Hampshire, stranded at the side of the road. Someone called the police, but when they arrived, she was gone. This video, called Happy Anniversary, was originally uploaded by a YouTuber named 112 Dirtbag. It was put up shortly before the 8th anniversary of her disappearance. This is haunting enough, but it gets worse. The YouTuber's name, 112 Dirtbag, is believed to be a reference to something Mara's father once said. He said that she was probably picked up by some dirtbag on Route 112. This video was quickly taken down and the original uploader was never found. This mysterious CCTV video, taken from a warehouse belonging to a company called Party Packs, shows a stalker having all of his hard work undone in a matter of seconds when some items randomly fly off the shelf, which then begins to shake on its own. Nearby boxes almost fly into his face when he bends down to retrieve the fallen items. It could just be a string, but I definitely see some kind of tall figure standing just beyond the boxes just after it happens. Something is definitely moving its head here at the 36-second mark. After the stalker runs away, we get to see down the other side of the aisle from a different camera. That's when a transparent person briefly appears wearing a long robe that touches the floor, perhaps the same figure that appeared behind the boxes before. The camera malfunctions, and when it comes back, we see them again in the static, much closer this time, studying the camera curiously before it breaks entirely. The company would stop uploading for 7 years shortly after this video was made, so perhaps they really were scared out of business and recently reacquired. A YouTuber named Darkened Auras buys a cursed doll on eBay and decides to record it for signs of the supernatural. Within the first 10 seconds, they notice it is behaving very strangely.
Take your hand away from it. Her eyes are like black on this. Cute. Oh, she's moving.
The doll begins to rock back and forth on its own, and I'm not sure if you heard this part or not, but she says that the doll's eyes are light blue in real life, but they appear as pitch black on camera. Watch how the doll spins around when one of them goes to grab her.
Oh, I can feel it when she does that too. See?
What the f***? What is making her do that?
Now?
They continue to poke and prod the doll for well over an hour, and at one point they even record under the table to show that there are no magnets underneath, which was my guess. I encourage you to watch the full video and make note of what else you can see, as I'm sure that there are many other paranormal moments not shown here. So years ago I analyzed a creepy video of a mysterious handprint found in this family's haunted home in a hard to reach area really high up in the corner above the stairs. Years later their house still appears to be haunted as ever.
This wall has since been painted, and the exact same print is still there.
Okay, so the wall does in fact look to be painted a different color. The original video has a yellow wall and now it's gray. It's the same distance from the ceiling and has the same impossibly long fingers extending from an oblong palm, more like the paw print of a creature than that of a human. So I guess the work of a demon is not out of the question. With that said, I guess they could have stenciled the handprint and recreated it over the new paint job, but that seems like a lot of work and there should be some mistakes. The handprints in the two videos looks nearly identical to me, and therefore I think this follow-up video is probably paranormal. And judging from their evidence, it looks like this paranormal entity, ghost, demon, whatever you want to call it, is not going to stop haunting their home anytime soon. It's 12 in the morning when this stranger starts creeping along the side of a fence in slow and even steps, as if in a deep trance. He has an old portable radio on full volume, and he doesn't say anything, just slowly turns the knob. Occasionally, he pauses long enough to stare through the fence without saying a word. His radio does plenty of communicating though, and this part is especially weird. The radio just so happens to say something about walking away here. They reach the end of the chain link fence and nothing separates the two. The video ends with a really long stare down that the strange man easily wins. He reaches into his coat pocket for something, and the cameraman bolts for cover. A smart decision. A YouTuber named Sean Daywood is playing outside with his younger friend Ryan when a stranger comes out of the woods, and instead of ordering them off of her property, she demands they come closer to her. Here, she holds onto Ryan's arm and pulls him in when he tries to resist her grip. A much larger man comes out of the woods and backs up his wife. Then the woman turns around and simply says, "Come on," as if she expects Sean to follow. When he says no, she makes it clear that she will take him by force.
What do you mean no? You want me to fight you?
Sean tries to assert his right to leave, and she tells him that he is basically being held against his will.
We're leaving right now. Come on, Ryan.
He's not leaving.
When she gets within grabbing distance, Sean feels completely overwhelmed, and he and Ryan run. Who even knows what these adults were up to, or if they were even the property owners in the first place? For all we know, they could have been random strangers looking to do who knows what in the middle of the woods. A YouTube channel called Barb's Buzzin' takes a chance buying a fish off the dark web. Whoever sent this blacked out the bag so we can't see what's inside. Anything could be in there. Maybe even something dangerous. Or maybe it's just sensitive to light? At first it looks like nothing is there, but then they almost poured the slimy mystery pet onto the floor by accident.
Get it done quick. There's no fish in here. There's no fish. There's nothing in this. What the f?
They aren't sure if it's even alive until they see a tiny circular object moving in the center. They think this could be a shark egg, but I just want to be sure, so take a look and let me know what you think this bizarre gift could be.
Absolutely insane. Look at his head right there. He's legit swimming around.
I definitely see a striped tail at the very end, so maybe it is a shark and not something super nefarious after all. A YouTuber named Jay Frasina is filming her visit in the ice caves deep inside the Austrian mountains when she records a rise of nervous screams coming from the tourist group up ahead.
Oh, wow.
A short while later, this odd figure is seen scaling the walls.
Someone climbing up the wall. It's an iceman. It's a ghost. Jesus, what is that?
I was almost certain that this was just a frog until I remembered that they were in the ice caves. As far as I know, no cold-blooded frog should be able to survive the icy temperatures without freezing. And besides that, I don't think a group of people would randomly scream at once over an amphibian. Worst of all, it seems as though the glowing bluish humanoid creature appears to have no head. I can only imagine what this scene must have looked like in person. A YouTuber named Wet Tent takes a friend and goes exploring a tunnel. They find creepy but aren't sure if it's haunted. There are two entrances, so Wet Tent goes down one and his friend goes down the other. Hey! He finds his friend face down and not responsive, and the video suddenly cuts out, which is what somebody would probably do if this were real. According to Wet Tent, his friend eventually regained consciousness and had no recollection of what made him pass out. It might have been the air quality, but I don't think so because Wet Tent didn't pass out. Whatever it was, it made him go down with a scream. Here it is one more time. Let me know if you think that was a real scream caught on tape because I'm not sure. A YouTube channel called Raw Fishing sees something scary lurking in the grass nearby. Take a look at it and tell me if you would have the courage to charge at it and turn it over like he does. The creature is called an isopod, and its biggest defense is its hard shell. The legs and mouth look scary, but actually can't do anything to people, at least not directly. Taking it to a public restaurant, on the other hand, probably wasn't such a good idea. It's pretty funny and all, but I wouldn't want to eat anything after touching what essentially just came from a drainage pipe full of bacteria. I really hope the servers wipe down the high chair and table afterwards too. Speaking of which, at 10 minutes and 27 seconds, this fry makes possible contact with the creature's face, which she then dips and brings to her mouth. Is there any way to get a parasite from doing this? It's probably not likely, but I wouldn't want to take the chance. Terrence lives here, but I'm not going to reveal him, at least not yet. Take a look at his enclosure and give me your best guess as to what kind of pet Terrence is. There's a green structure for shelter and a piece of banana, so maybe Terrence is some kind of fruit-eating lizard, right? Well, there's no heat rock, so if a lizard was your guess, it was a good one, but no. Likewise, Terrence the Tarantula has a nice ring to it, but the bandana is not spider food, so that's a no-go as well. Okay, I'll tell you. Terrence is the giant, hissing cockroach of your nightmares. This creepy pet spans across all 4 fingers, and its backside still hangs over the end. Someone please tell me this roach is as big as it gets, because I can't imagine a larger one, or why someone would actually own this as a pet. Could you ever see yourself getting attached to Terrence? Because Terrence will gladly attach itself to you. This is the same house that made number 2 on my list about mysterious things caught on tape in Texas. In that video, I verified that somebody really did have their life taken while exploring the premises. Now, someone may have actual footage of their ghost.
Whoa!
You can see what appears to be a small hand beacon them from the window. I guess they could have had a third person climb to the second floor to make this video as a prank. Can someone who has been brave enough to go inside of the house tell me if it's possible to get up to the second floor? If you can't get access to the second floor, then this video is probably real. Either way, many people claim to have seen the ghosts of small children in doorways and windows of the abandoned property. So even if this video is fake, then the house is almost definitely still haunted. This truck was supposed to be a gift for Christmas, but it only seems to move by itself and refuses to take orders. Orbs fly by here at the 54-second mark as we shift our focus to the useless remote control, which sits discarded on the counter. A toy truck moving by itself is definitely weird, but what happens next seems like way too much of a coincidence to be completely random. I know that my audience is evenly split on the subject of orbs, with half believing they are paranormal and the other half certain they are just dust. I still haven't decided what the answer is for myself, but it's videos like this one, where an orb just so happens to fly over the object as soon as it's mentioned, that really makes me wonder what's going on here. An instructor records himself and his students for a teacher evaluation. He's giving a lecture about safety when some strange activities start to happen.
About what dangers might we bump into. Stephen, don't do that please, it's distracting. That's one thing, someone give me another one then. Strangers? Right, what we're going to do, we need to... I tell you what guys, let's just go out for a minute.
By now the class is in mild shock as they awkwardly line up and leave. According to the description of this video, later on they would say that they felt a strange static electricity in the air and a tingling sensation in their faces. After they leave, the possible haunting seems to continue for quite some time. Finally, the camera is knocked to the ground by an unseen force and the video ends. A YouTuber named Paloma Renee decides to buy a supposed ghost off eBay. She receives this letter describing an old ghost from the 1800s that has haunted their home for years before being captured in a jar. The instructions look like they were typed in a hurry and are incomplete. Despite this warning, Paloma and her friend unleash the ghost and use a Ouija board to communicate. They aren't taking this very seriously at all, and ask some pretty silly questions for about 5 minutes. They get mostly non-answers in return and are ready to end the session. But first they check to see if they offended the ghost. This is their cursed reply.
Yeah. Or wait, are you gonna haunt us? Like, are you gonna make our life hell? Jin, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Watch their hands again and tell me if you think this is a real paranormal answer, or if they are moving the pointer themselves. This video, titled The Cave of Screaming Terror, sounds a bit dramatic until you get about midway through. Donnell Buckley is exploring the sea cave along the coast of Ireland by himself when suddenly the water becomes higher and Donnell hears this strange sound behind him. A series of shrill, high-pitched screams coming from somewhere deep within the cave makes Donald decide to leave the vicinity. He never gives proper explanation, and I think it definitely creeped him out. If you can identify what kind of creature this is, then please do so. It almost sounds like some kind of exotic bird, but it also somewhat resembles some of the more convincing rake videos that I've seen before. This bizarre video caught my attention on the Chills Narrators subreddit. West for President is taking a trip in Bergen, Norway, filming some birds at the harbor, when something really creepy caught him by surprise.
I am bird. What the No. Okay. What the Is that a face? Oh, what the
When he zooms in on this odd rat-like face, it is sticking out from the tunnel. I don't know if this tunnel is haunted or has an oversized creature problem or what, but it's enough to make West for President hold his scream in as he runs away. I would say that it's part of the structure, but there's no identical part on the other side of the wall. I don't know what it is, but if he thinks it's far from normal, then that's good enough for me. A YouTuber named Breaking the Shell goes exploring a 150-year-old home in search of the paranormal, and the paranormal is what they find. Shadow figures and footsteps have been reported by previous ghost hunters, but that's nothing compared to the paranormal evidence you're about to see. They're not even exploring inside of the house yet, and the investigation is already getting spooky. At 40 seconds, a mysterious, possibly paranormal white light appears in the window of the room above them. And before you say that their light is hitting a mirror or something, explain how at 45 seconds the light seemingly gets even brighter when the ghost hunter faces the opposite way. One of the things they notice is a bricked up fireplace where someone seems to have busted out, along with a door that has a padlock. There's another doorway with firewood in front of it that's been boarded up and painted over. I feel like somebody could have been kept in here against their will.
That's weird.
After exploring the house some more, they think they hear footsteps, like other ghost hunters have reported, and I think it might be happening over them in the room where the mysterious light was.
They're like it walked past that window like some people.
They go outside, and at 23 minutes and 7 seconds their camera gets blurry, like it's trying to focus on a ghost nearby. Then we see the weird mystifying light again, in front of them this time, and there's nothing but darkness, so I don't think it's light from their camera caught on tape.
No joke, I saw a lot right there.
But here's the creepiest paranormal evidence of all. At 13 minutes while exploring the top floor, they see this blue blanket. It looks flat at first, but the more you look at it, the more it looks like the ghostly form of a child seems to appear under the blanket.
Holy cow, this is terrifying.
Now this has to be paranormal. It's 1:40 in the morning and two friends are cruising down a dark road, completely unable to see what's on the other side. They both think that they spot movement in the trees, and having nothing better to do, they pull over and shine their headlights into the area. Nothing happens for some time, and then a figure slowly emerges from the dry brush. One of them says that they think this is a witch, and I agree that could be a possibility. They are dressed in all black and hunched over, holding what appears to be a walking stick. If this is not fake and that's not a third friend, then I can't imagine what anybody would be doing walking in complete darkness all alone, especially so late at night. This video of a shaky, alien-looking pod looks like it really shouldn't exist anywhere on planet Earth, let alone some random person's basement. The way it moves from left to right without being touched makes me think that some strange life form is about to burst forth. Most of the comments agree that this could be some sort of egg or cocoon with a foreign host inside. Note how strange furry hair seems to protrude from sections of its hardened exterior, further indicating that this is in fact a living organism of some kind. The video ends before we can see what hatches, but whatever it is, I just hope it isn't something that is harmful. A YouTuber named Captain Bob Hartzell finds himself in the sea caves of Devil's Island in Wisconsin when he feels uneasy and decides to start recording. Watch this part and tell me if you see something strange in the distance. A vaguely human outline can be seen standing directly in front of him. I guess this could just be a small cave opening, but this island is rumored to be haunted by numerous spirits and even a cave monster, so anything is possible. All I know for sure is that Bob feels like he is not alone, starts recording wildly, and manages to capture a silhouette roughly the same size and shape of a human.
Oh my god, this is so gross. I'm trying to look it up everywhere and I really can't like identify it because it looks so weird and different.
A YouTuber named Supa Tanks has a creepy unwelcomed guest in her aquarium and needs our help figuring out what it is. Someone commented that this looks like a highly toxic centipede that fell in, but Supa Tank thinks that this might be an aquatic-based life form responsible for eating her shrimp. I agree with the giant insect theory because of its many legs and cylinder-shaped body, but maybe it's an exotic parasite or something even worse. Let's help solve this mystery and put her mind at ease with a correct answer. Some fast food places have hidden items on the menu that have to be special ordered, but I don't think that's what's going on during this horrifying moment caught on tape. Buried at the very bottom is what appears at first to merely be a piece of grated cheese, but is far worse than that. A disgusting yellow larva, soon to be a fly, wiggles hello at the camera.
It's moving, man.
He could always get his money back, but that's not the point. I don't see the taco anywhere in this video, so I assume that means it's been eaten already. Bugs and all. A ghost investigation video from Oregon, while admittedly grainy and out of focus, nonetheless captures two possibly paranormal instances that are worth analyzing. The first is a brief materialization of a shirt or tunic against the wall. From this floating clothing item, a phantom person emerges. Barely noticeable are the head, nose, and two eyes. Then again, this could be wavy details caused by motion blur, but motion blur does not explain the glowing white eyes that briefly flicker at 11 seconds into the video and quickly go away. I don't care how poor the camera quality is, whatever this is in my opinion, it should not be there, and yet it is. These two motorists are driving around in the UK when one of them looks up in the sky and pulls over. They stare at the clouds for about 15 seconds and nothing happens. Then, just when they are about to give up, an unknown object appears immediately in front of them. It drifts into a cloud and some kind of electric reaction happens. Lightning goes off and then a weird semi-transparent rectangular object floats to the ground. The video is very low quality, so either this was taken a long time ago with a bad camera, or else it was probably edited. Either way, I must find out more about what was in that sky. Melanie Bantel and her friends go on a road trip and end up buying a potentially cursed item, though none of them knew it at the time. The front and back of the album looks relatively normal, but when they play the record, it sounds just like someone yelling in an extremely deep voice.
What the hell?
Melanie and her friends think this record is either cursed or else some sort of experimental music project, though it's hard to tell for sure since they don't play it for very long. I wonder if any of them experienced any bad luck after making this video. A Twitch streamer named Jake is visiting another country and enjoying the downtown nightlife. It's getting really late and he's about to turn in when two girls he's never seen before walk up with huge smiles and start dancing with him. They're acting like they've known Jake for a long time, while this guy in gray lurks in the background. Jake doesn't mind the attention at first, but he grows progressively more confused until one of them speaks in English, so as not to alert the man nearby.
Listen, behind you, there's a man. She needs to help us, okay?
You can see he's staring really hard at the women with a serious expression. He's also standing way too close and looks to be within grabbing distance. When he looks over at them again, they try to play it cool by jumping up and down in fake excitement and acting like they don't even notice him. In reality, they are literally too scared to make eye contact with him, and they're turning to Jake for help.
Yeah, he's still staring at us. He's still staring at us. Okay, hold on.
Wait, do you know that guy? Get that guy on camera.
Jake hangs around for another few minutes until the man wanders off. The girls hug each other out of relief and quickly dart the other way. I really hope this man had second thoughts about whatever he was going to do, but something tells me he wandered off to find an easier target. This kind of video really shouldn't exist anywhere in this day and age, but sadly people like this creeper are still out doing weirdly bizarre things like this. Kudos to Jake for stepping in and putting a stop to it here. A haunted home in Italy that has been the subject of many failed exorcisms has some incredible paranormal activity caught on tape that almost has to be trick photography. Tell me how this was done before I wake up screaming tonight. It almost looks too well done to be computer editing. Danny keeps noticing footprints in the snow leading up to his house, wide and spaced far apart. He checks his CCTV system only to discover whatever is making the tracks is apparently invisible. 7 seconds into the video, snow patches fly up for no reason at all. Danny suspects that this is a ghost because absolutely nothing was nearby. The long tracks do kind of look like someone kicking their feet as they are being dragged, but I'm not sure what to think, so maybe you can help me decide. This man claims he can make a wooden matchstick pass through a silver watch using nothing but sheer will. He focuses deeply for a moment and then proves it can be done.
For solid through solid. Thus.
I'm almost positive that this is sleight of hand, but I'm not sure. I don't see cuts in editing, and it really does look like it was done in one smooth take. If someone can please tell me how he does this, real or not, I would greatly appreciate the help. With a pair of tweezers in one hand and a bucket in the other, Rory Shumack approaches Lacey, a pet monitor lizard with a tick that needs to be carefully removed. The sun is in his eyes, and he's too busy looking for the tick to pay attention to the other end. I'm sure you saw Lacey's jaws, but it also tried to whip him in the face with its tail. After watching this failed attempt, I would probably have a professional vet perform a tick removal, but tell me if you can think of a better way. This creepy video is 2 seconds long, and one of the scariest creature sightings ever caught on camera. It's not the way it looks so much as the way it approaches, almost like it's glad to see you. That makes it all the more terrifying. If there's a longer version, I'm not sure I'm ready to see it. If there is anyone behind the camera, it might not end well. I hope this is a video of a normal dog with special effects or something. What do you think? A pet snapping turtle doesn't take kindly to its owners and already has its mouth open. The warning sign goes unheeded, but thankfully one of his friends inadvertently saves him by getting his attentions moments before this happens.
He said, "What's up?"
This was almost a solid chunk of flesh taken out of his face, and a trip for medical attention for certain. GeoMeo9 is a YouTuber who claims to have bought an old photo that comes with a worrisome curse. He doubted the legend at first, but soon found it to be true with his own eyes. I could be wrong, but this kind of looks like the hologram photos you can buy at certain gift stores. But then again, GeoMeo9 uploaded this video in 2006, and I'm not even sure they were made back then. Maybe someone can let me know in the comments section. A YouTuber named Mark Johnson and his group are conducting a paranormal investigation in the Cave of the Winds, a supposedly haunted underground location in the Colorado wilderness. Apparently whatever is down there with them lacks patience and will not wait until they're finished setting up equipment to begin.
Probably
kick on the spirit box here in a minute and that other
None of them hear the noise until they review the tape, which I find strange because the camera picks it up so well. The sound was either truly paranormal or possibly just their equipment dragging across the ground. A short while later, they catch 2 orbs while walking, followed by this scream. I think this scream was probably a supernatural encounter because it happens in the middle of an otherwise regular conversation. But listen to this part and tell me what you believe. Finally, this bizarre unseen light source magically flickers after Mark Johnson asks for spiritual confirmation.
Is there anybody in this part of the cave here with me?
What's weird is how the shimmering effect goes away when Mark shines his flashlight over the patch of land. There's really no reason for an object to suddenly stop reflecting light like that, especially when it was just reflecting light 2 seconds earlier. In my opinion, the reflection should have grown brighter when put in a direct beam of light, not go away completely, which makes me think all of this is real. Ghost Hunter Emax has some of the creepiest videos in the small but growing Japanese ghost hunter community. Videos with scary moments like this one that will haunt you for a long time. He's exploring an abandoned hospital when he senses something paranormal is near, a ghost in the same hallway.
なんかいる感じするもんね。こんなね、したりしたんだけど。さあ行ってみたい。あ！これが今こっちに動いたんだよな。
It's just there 1 second at 10 minutes 16 seconds, and within 2 seconds it's being pushed back 3 feet into the closet. Did he really see a wheelchair move by itself while exploring a haunted hospital? Or did someone pull it from off camera? The video looks convincing, but I guess we'll never know. Daniel lives way out in the country, and rather than paying someone to remove the leaves around his house, he chooses to burn them instead. He stands at the edge of a controlled fire and takes this quick video.
Oh yeah, lots of fire. Oh yeah, lots of fire.
Off the distance, a 2-legged creature about the same size as Daniel sprints away in the opposite direction as fast as it can. Keep in mind that Daniel lives out in the Oklahoma wilderness and has no neighbors. I really can't think of any forest animal that looks like this, so maybe the controlled burn accidentally flushed out a rare humanoid creature. With no other footage of the creature, we will probably never know what it truly is. This YouTuber is exploring a cave in an undisclosed location when he sees something that freezes him in place. He steadies the camera and slowly zooms into the darkness. Staring back at him are 2 white eyes that are large and spaced far apart, signifying a large creature with a well-developed brow. The timing of his reaction seems very real and not staged. Also, this is the only video on the channel and it's from 2016. I did think that this video was fake at first because the name of the channel is Pro Films, but then I realized it just means he was recording with a GoPro. Also, this is the only video on the channel and it's from 2016. I'm just saying that if this was a fake channel, then there would probably be more videos similar to this one. But there's nothing else. Mikael Kroosbergen is deep in a cave in the tropical country of Laos when he catches this incredibly large arachnid lurking on the stony gray wall. Mikael later describes this spider as being the size of a full-grown pizza. Its eyes are large enough to reflect light back into the camera like a cat, which is something I've never seen a bug's eyes do. Eventually, the creature scurries into the darkness with the speed of a professional sprinter, never to be seen by human eyes again. According to the description, they are sure that this is a giant huntsman spider, which apparently will bite on occasion. Tell me if you agree with their assessment and how you were able to tell for sure. John T. Taylor TV documents an old abandoned house from the late 90s that is in a total state of disrepair. There's no saving this house, but there also may be spirits inside who have no interest in being saved as well. As he takes a final look from outside, John T. Taylor records what could be 2 pairs of eyes staring at him from behind a desk and collapsed section of wall. Are these really eyes looking from deeper within, or could they be a series of tiny holes in the far wall with pinpricks of light shining through? I think I might see the bottom set of eyes blink at the 4-minute and 46-second mark, so I think I might have the answer. He turns around, goes back to civilization from where he came from, none the wiser about this potentially up-and-close and personal chance encounter with the other side. A paranormal investigator named Jeff Stetik's world walks into an abandoned house through a door that was kicked open long ago. An old woman once lived here, and all of her possessions are still inside, mostly various clothing items and trinkets, and quite a few photos. He is looking at 2 black and white pictures of a boy, perhaps a grandchild or a son, when he hears a faint sound coming from further down the hall.
What was that?
He detects nothing with his untrained eye, but as his camera adjusts to the darkness, it does pick up a small outline pressed up against the wall. Perhaps the very same boy in the pictures he was just observing. All of this escapes him as he calmly exits, completely unaware of the boy cloaked darkness just 1 room away. This video, taken by a paranormal investigator named Daryl James Godsey in an 1800s California graveyard, might capture the ghost of a child as it rises from its resting place. Daryl sets up the motion camera and gives it a test by waving his arms. As he does so, a long anomaly appears briefly and disappears. Notice how its odd shape seems to connect all the way down to its tombstone, if only ever so briefly, and then it's gone. It might simply be the image of a bug flying close to the lens, but literally 1 second after it's gone, this paranormal detection equipment lights up as soon as it leaves the frame. Are these 2 back-to-back events pure coincidence or absolutely paranormal? You tell me. This YouTuber just bought some scrap cars for dirt cheap. There's only one catch though.
And it wasn't opening yet, so I just opened this up. If you look here, it's biohazard, so I've been trying to be careful. Look.
The car has both airbags deployed and, judging from the interior, there were probably no survivors. He pulls out a bag of wrecked parts that just gives me a bad feeling all around. Then he moves deeper inside. The center console contains some weird beads and other miscellaneous items. It's strange to think that he could be rummaging through the very same belongings of a person who is no longer living. Eventually, he comes across a pair of designer sunglasses that again give me the same weird feeling as before. Let me know if you would actually take any of these items, or if you would leave them be. Joe Rob TV sees something on the side of the road that's so creepy. He isn't even sure if he was imagining it or not, so he has to take a second look. This time he has his camera ready to record.
What the Oh, what the Oh, what the
The strange person slowly approaches with their hands in their pockets, almost like they've been expecting him, and Joe Rob quickly speeds off. It's hard to tell if they are wearing a Halloween mask, or if their facial features are really that oversized and distorted in real life. If they are wearing a mask, it must extend under the shirt, because I can't see where the mask ends and their neckline begins. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.